everybody. Ariana Anderson here. I'm a naturopathic doctor here at Anderson Family Chiropractic and Naturopathic Care in Waterville, Ohio. I hope this finds you well and healthy. This month we're going through our 4 pillars of health, which is digestion, detoxification, immune drainage, and then sugar handling. This week we're talking about the immune system and how to support it. As many of you probably know who come here, we talk about this a lot. There's a lot of organs and glands involved in what we would call like the integrated or holistic immune system. So it's a system, not one organ. And the major ones are your thymus gland, which is actually right here, lymph nodes and vesicles, which are all over your body, which is how your body gets waste out. And then tonsils and adenoids, which you know where those are in the back of your throat, our spleen, and then bone marrow, and even our appendix plays a role in our immune health. We know also a lot more recently, although it's still kind of in its infancy, is how much the gut plays a role in our immune health. We won't get into that tonight, but that actually plays a huge role in our immunity. But, you know, honestly, there are discoveries related to our immune system all the time. It's just this huge subject. I am certain that I will be learning new things about it for the rest of my lifetime. And until recently, I've really thought, as I think most people do, that our immune system is more like our personal military system. You know, and it does perform something like that, right? It does help us clean up foreign material and attack, pathogens and things like that. But more of the recent studies and discussions that I've been watching on the immune system really makes it appear more like it's our operating system. It regulates many processes in the body to activate and clean up many things, maintaining homeostasis or balance. Hi, Abby. Hi, Tori. In the body system. But tonight I'm going to try and keep things just simple. I'm just going to talk about the immune system as its 3 biggest line of defenses within our immune system response. The first line of defense actually relates to the discussion we had the first in our series, which is on digestion. Our first line of defense is actually stomach acid. So you'll have to go and look at that video before to give a little more detail on that. But suffice it to say is that when your stomach has enough acidity, it is the first line of defense against pathogens. It will fry them up, right? Cooking critters, they get in there, they die. Unfortunately, as we age, we oftentimes start to make less stomach acid, which becomes problematic. And then also a lot of times people are taking antacids and proton pump inhibitor drugs. And so that is going to inhibit acidity in the stomach. So when that happens, essentially that first line of defense gets thwarted. So definitely go and look at that first in our series, the first talk in our series about digestion. That will help you with that. But the second line of defense, if things get through that one and get into our body, we have white blood cells, or sometimes they're called T killer cells, and the inflammatory response. And so white blood cells are actually created in the thymus, with the thymus gland. That's why they're called a T killer cell for thymus. And so we need to make sure that we have a healthy thymus. It's necessary for us to have adequate immune response. And as many of you know, when cells are injured or damaged, they will release chemicals called histamines, right? We've had histamine responses that have caused us some trouble usually. But this is what actually alerts white blood cells to go and collect, inactivate, and destroy dead and damaged cells and or foreign particles. So it actually does have an important role in the body. So this sets the stage for repair in the body. So inflammation and that histamine response, really, instead of shutting those things down, we actually want to make sure that we're supporting that function so that it happens efficiently. The problem is oftentimes we don't have enough support in our body for us to clear the histamine, and that's where we start to get itchy eyes, runny nose, and those types of things. Or obviously with more severe allergies, we can have swelling, and so that kind of thing needs to be supported for the course of your life to make sure that those processes can be handled efficiently, because they really are important, and it's a bona fide part of our immune system response. And so what is the best way to support this process with vitamins and minerals? Well, the three big ones is vitamin A, vitamin C, and calcium. Those three are essential for those processes to happen properly. So you want to make sure that you're getting those in adequate quantities in your diet, and or getting a really good, high quality, whole food vitamin supplement. It's really better to get it from a whole food source than from a synthetic. Interesting note, we actually posted an article yesterday on our page about Detroit's police chief, who he actually did get COVID sickness and was very unwell, but he wanted to heal naturally. And so he talked about his journey and what he did. One of the things he actually used was, two supplements. Actually, one was Conjuplex by Standard Process, and the other was called Andrographis. It's an herb by MediHerb, and these are actually supplements we use with our patients all the time. And it was nice to see, refreshing to see. He actually did a lot of things to support his health, and he healed and recovered quite well. And so, can you guess what some of the big nutrients are in Conjuplex? Vitamin A, vitamin C, and calcium. It also has nutritive factors in there that supports the thymus gland. So so there's a lot of things that you can do naturally to support healing and recovery in your body. The third line of defense is antibodies, which most people have heard about. We're not going to go into those in too much detail, but most infections actually never make it past the first and second line of defense. Those actually clean it up. It's not a problem. But if it does get past that, then you're going to have B cells created to produce antibodies. And B cells are called B cells because the B is created from bone marrow. So that's why they call them B cells. And so that particular part of your immune system starts in the bone. So you need to make sure that your bones are healthy. And there's actually certain types of bone calciums that we use to help support people's body's ability to support bone health. Includes certain kinds of calciums and minerals that help support that. So what can we do? Okay, number one, the sun. You got to get in the sun. I know it's tough. I know it's tough right now, right? Because goodness gracious, last week we had snow. You never know what you're going to get here in Ohio. But if you can get out in the sun, that's the absolute best, because that's how we make vitamin D naturally. So if you can get as much skin as you can on the sun, 15 to 20 minutes, that's ideal. If you can't do that, you can, of course, use a good whole food vitamin D3 supplement. And you can get those at reputable supplement companies. We have some here. People that come here, it's called Cataplex D, really great vitamin D supplement. But vitamin D is actually used in a lot of processes, not just in the immune system, but it's a really interesting vitamin because it also plays a role as a hormone. It actually has a role of being able to pull calcium into the blood. And I had mentioned that calcium is really important for the immune response. So this assists especially with inflammation and white blood cell function. It also helps to create cathelicidins, which are interesting things, that what they do is they actually are they've been described like little bullets. They can disrupt the membranes of many microbial pathogens. So, and it breaks them up and then they die. So vitamin D is super important for that. It also plays a big role in anti-inflammatory pathways too. So need to have your vitamin D, absolutely. So if we're not out in the sun, then you need to have a good whole food supplement as a backup. Vitamin A, carotenes, they are used in the body to build walls around your epithelial cells to protect you. So if you don't have enough vitamin A, your cell walls are going to be very weak, which is one of the reasons why that is recommended highly, in the cold and flu season. Vitamin C, of course, everybody knows that, right? But several cells of the immune system can indeed accumulate vitamin C and need the vitamin to perform their tasks, especially phagocytes and T cells. So if you don't have enough of these building blocks, then those processes aren't going to be able to happen as they should, which they naturally would. Another thing I always talk to, and all those people on the line who are on programs with me, is zinc. Zinc, you need zinc to create T helper immune cells for their function, and it is also an antioxidant and has anti-inflammatory actions. And so, zinc is you can get it in liver. Most people don't want to eat liver though. I know this. I like it, but most people don't like it. So that doesn't work. Get raw pumpkin seeds, though they're green. So I'm not talking about the ones you get at the gas station that have a bunch of salt on them. I'm not talking about those. But the little green ones that sometimes they're called pepitos too. But they have a lot of naturally occurring zinc in them. It's really actually kind of hard to find foods high in zinc, but pumpkin seeds are one of them. So most of the people on programs here, we have them do at least about 2 tablespoons a day. And that helps to make sure that their body is fully replete with zinc throughout the year. Now, vitamin A and vitamin C, interestingly enough, obviously you can get these from supplements, but if we can get them into our diet on a regular basis, that's so much better, right? The one thing that is a really quick hitter, most people like it, or at least they don't mind putting it in things, is red bell peppers. They have a lot of vitamin C and a lot of vitamin A, and they have a lot of bioflavonoids, which are really helpful in the immune response. So those are things that we get, like the bell peppers, and we also get the little ones. They're like, I don't know, they're like about this big, and they're in a little bag. My kids just eat them like candy. So I think they're delicious. As a matter of fact, today I took a few of them, cut them in half, and then I had like a dip, and I just used that as my kind of like my chip, and it's really yummy. So also an interesting note, there was a group of medical doctors that did a video speaking about using primarily these nutrients, A, C, D, and zinc, with all of their patients that came in with COVID sickness, and they had, I think they said at least over 80, maybe it was over 100. But all of them got better. None of them had to go to the hospital, not one. And they were just using you know, natural support. So I will put the link to their video because I think it really gives people a lot of hope that your body's super strong, and as long as you give it what it needs, it can act. Most people can deal with these types of sicknesses. So I'll definitely put that in the link. And then also, to well, a couple more things. The first thing is sugar. I know, everybody loves their sugar, but here's the problem with sugar. We've already talked a lot about why vitamin C is so important for the immune function. Well, they've done studies to show that vitamin C and glucose, sugar in the blood, compete for receptor sites. And so if your blood is flooded with sugar, it competes with that, and so you'll actually have less receptors to pull vitamin C in. So, and I think in that study they had said 75 grams of sugar will decrease your immune response by 50% for at least 2 hours. So you got to get the sugar out of your diet. I know it stinks, and you just baby step your way there. There are sugar alternatives like monk fruit's not a bad one. You can do organic erythritol or herbal stevia, things like that. There's things that you can use as you kind of get away from the sweet tooth. But I'll tell you, sugar is a huge, huge, huge problem, and it really decreases our immune function. So you got to get rid of that one. You got to get good sleep. I know it's a toughie. Some people just really have a hard time sleeping. We have some other resources that can help people with that, but the fact of the matter is you do most of your healing and recovering while you're sleeping. So some of the things you can do really is maybe to get off electronics, like an hour before bed. That light from your phone, it messes with a gland in your brain that is actually responsible for producing melatonin, which helps you feel sleepy. It's activated by light. So if you have, that screen in front of you, the bright screen, it kind of confuses that. It keeps you from making enough melatonin to be sleepy and to sleep well. So maybe just actually use real books. I know it's a novel idea, but I do have real books, and so you can get them. And then try to get some exercise in. I know right now it's really tough, especially if it's cold out. But we need it for a variety of reasons. But the biggest reason in relation to immune response is you got to be able to get rid of waste. And the one way you get that out is through your lymphatic system. And that's a system is real similar to your circulatory system, but the problem is it doesn't have a pump. Your blood, flows through your circulatory system with your heart pumping. Lymphatic system doesn't have that, and that's just it's a bunch of tributaries. It's how your body gets rid of waste. So if you're not moving, I mean, that's how you keep that river flowing. So if you're not moving, it gets stagnant, and your body has a really hard time getting rid of waste. So 20 minutes a day doesn't have to be strenuous. It could just be walking. You could be biking, and pretty soon here we're going to get some decent weather on a consistent basis. Just try to get out and get at least 20 minutes a day where you're getting your body moving, and then you can work your way up to some stuff that's maybe a little more anaerobic. But anyway, I hope you guys are doing great and you stay healthy and well. If you have any questions for us, please feel free to put them in the comments, and we love you all. Have a great night.